here don't know very much about snakes. Many people are afraid of snakes because they have very little knowledge about them. How many of you have personally encountered a wild snake and didn't know what to do or simply ran away? This demonstration will help you to quickly and easily identify whether a snake is venomous or non-venomous, and what you should do upon encountering a wild snake or experiencing a wild snake bite. The great news is that the Missouri Department of Conservation states on their website that on average, 88% of all wild snakes in Missouri are non-venomous, leaving only 12% as a venomous snake. Did you know that only 2 people ever in the history of Missouri have ever died of a snake bite, according to data collected by the Missouri Division of Wildlife Services, the most recent being a copperhead bite in 2012 as reported by CNN. In this demonstration, I will first show you how to properly identify a venomous snake. Next, I will show you what to do if you encounter a snake in the wild. And finally, I will demonstrate the proper way to handle a snake and what to do if you are bitten by the snake. So, to begin this demonstration, we'll begin by learning the difference between a venomous and a non-venomous snake by taking a look at Buttons. Buttons here is my friend, and I raised him from a baby. He is a corn snake, which is native to the eastern United States. He's a full-grown snake, as you can see, and he is non-venomous. Now we're going to find out why. In Missouri especially, it is extremely important that you are able to learn, at the very least, whether a snake is venomous or non-venomous, and to ensure your safety when you're outdoors. There are many myths surrounding how to discern whether a snake is venomous or not. At this time, I would like you to look at your handout so that you can easily follow along as we explore these myths. Also, it is of extreme importance to notice the difference between the word venomous and the word poisonous. A lot of people use these interchangeably. That's incorrect. Venomous is something that can make you sick if you eat it. Venomous is something that makes you sick if it bites you. In contrast, the first myth about venomous snakes is that all venomous snakes have triangular heads, when in fact many non-venomous snakes can easily mimic this behavior when defensive to make their head look triangular in order to scare predators away. Even Buttons here can flatten his head to create a triangular appearance. The second myth about telling a venomous snake from a non-venomous snake is that venomous snakes usually have elliptical and oblong shaped eyes, while non-venomous snakes have round eyes with round pupils, which you could see if he wasn't crawling up my ponytail. This myth holds true to a point, and one must focus on the word oblong, because there are many harmless snakes, such as the red-tailed boa, which have elliptical pupils like a cat's eye. However, their eyes are round and not oblong in shape. Additionally, the coral snake is a highly venomous snake native to the United States, but thankfully not Missouri, whose eyes are both and pupils are both round. The third myth I would like to discuss with you when trying to discern whether a snake is venomous or not, including cottonmouths and copperheads, is that the myth that they cannot bite or eat anything underwater. This is a complete myth, although there are differences in how snakes behave depending on whether they are venomous or not. A venomous snake will always swim on top of the water because they inflate their lungs before swimming. However, non-venomous snakes, harmless water snakes, will also swim underwater, although they can swim along the top of the water also. So this too is a myth that only applies to certain snakes. By looking at these myths, you can see for most of them, you would have to get very close to the snake to find out. For this reason, and he's tickling me. For this reason, if you should encounter a wild snake, the best thing to do is to leave the snake alone. Do not try to kill the snake. Do not try to provoke it. Simply move around it or to a different location. Despite many myths that argue that a snake will chase a human being, a myth often perpetuated by Hollywood, there are relatively few snakes that will chase a human being down, such as the African bushmaster snake. However, there are no snakes in the United States that will actively chase down their prey. Most snakes prefer to run away and flee the scene if at all possible. Therefore, the best choice is to simply leave the snake alone. If you are close enough to accurately check whether it's venomous, then you are too close. However, there may be cases where you need to or even want to handle a snake. But in the case of a wild snake, you should never try to handle or capture it. Remember that 80% of all snake bites come from people who try to kill or handle a wild snake. So if you see a snake in the wild, please leave it alone. Unfortunately, even while doing your best to let wild snakes be, there may be a time when you or someone you know may actually become bitten by a wild snake. In the case that you are bitten by a wild snake, there are several things you should do. According to the CDC, you should try and remember the color and the shape of the snake, which can help with the treatment of the snake bite. Keep the bitten person still and calm. In the case that you are bitten by a wild snake, this calmness can slow down the spread of venom if the snake is indeed venomous. Dial 911 or call emergency medical services. Do not try to pick the snake up or trap it to call local emergency services. Do not pick the snake up or try to trap it. This may put you or someone else at risk for a bite. Do not apply a tourniquet. Do not slash the wound with a knife. Do not suck out the venom, and do not apply ice or immerse the wound in water. Now that you have learned the differences between a venomous and non-venomous snake, dispelled some common myths about snakes, and learned how to handle pet snakes, I encourage you to share this information with your family and friends, and to remember to avoid wild snakes whenever possible. Now that you have seen this demonstration, how many of you are now feeling much better about snakes? Raise your hands. Good, that's fantastic. Since everyone now knows more about snakes and how to react to them, I'd like to invite anyone who would like to stay at the end of class to visit with Buttons and myself and ask any questions you have or hold them at that time. Thank you for allowing me to come with Buttons today to help teach you about snake safety.
Yay!
Thank you.